That's right. We're doing it. Hey, thank you guys for your patience and for hanging out and for being on the show.
Very entertaining, I must say.
Oh my God. That was me rushing through it. Usually that lasts about 15 minutes longer, which is like, now that I think about it, that's very unnecessary. Papa Sweet, how dare you, Papa Squat. Though, thank you for those 50 biddies. I appreciate you, my friend. So far, I haven't had any noticeable reactions, but it definitely affected Saucy. I've been wearing it for about... Oh, you guys are talking about your Moldavite. Okay. I don't know what the space rock does, but apparently it's super powerful. Are you guys into? I'm gonna get us a little more in here. Are you guys into the crystals and the good intentions and the meditations and the third eye chakras? Is that something you guys dig on, or is that something just like nah?
No, but meditation is part of our daily.
Crystals also, I mean, it comes from the earth,
Mm-hmm.
and I do believe in that.
Yeah.
I don't believe in the third eye though, but I do believe in spirits. So.
What about the third eye? Do you not believe it? I mean, as in chakras. I guess the whole idea of chakras, you know, like the different chakras. The third eye chakra is what I'm supposed to be opening up. Apparently, I have my doubts too, so I understand where you're coming from, but I'm just curious. What about like the chakras and that is not? You don't buy. You're not buying. What aren't you buying about the chakras?
I don't know. I don't know where it came from actually.
Got it.
Are there any proofs that it has anything to do with ourselves? I mean, it's deep, but things like crystals and meditation and like spirit world and just, you know, there's good spirits, there are bad spirits. We believe in that, but the third eye thing, I don't know.
No, well, it just sounds like you're not sure what it is, and that's totally fine. It's like not knowing what it is, where it comes from. It comes from it comes from India. That's my basic knowledge of it. Look, I get
from
it.
Where? India?
It comes from India. Yeah, the whole idea of like chakra reading and like opening third eyes and stuff. It all comes from India, and there's those little crystal sound bowls that are supposed to help open up these chakras. And I don't know, it's interesting, you know, because there are cameras that actually can, like, this is my aura, right? Like,
oh no, yeah, I believe in aura. I just don't believe.
No, but apparently they can also take pictures of like different chakras. See, now that's the part I don't know. Is the photography of chakras real, or is it just the auras? Because the auras is something that you can actually take a picture of. Like my wife took a picture and hers was all green and blue and all nice. Mine's like fiery and fucking frenetic and crazy, like as you can imagine I am. So it's
your personality, so
it does, yeah. It's just this big ball of fire, right? I'm just like encapsulated in fire. That's the energy I put off, and it can be pretty off-putting to people. I've noticed, like, if I walk into a room and I just bring too much of it, like people will just be like, "You gotta go, like get out, like you gotta go," just because it's a lot, and I get it. Like I'm just always burning hot. So, but like with crystals and meditations, like with meditation,
he absorbs people's energy.
Yeah, that's why I believe in it, because like I walk into a room, if there are like negative energies, I feel it and I feel so heavy. If I walk into a room full of like light spirited people and just a lot of love and kindness, like I also absorb that. So I do believe in that. I believe, you know, maybe animals can see auras. Like I believe in that. I like sometimes would walk down the streets of San Francisco. Like I remember one time a lot of times. I'd be in San Francisco just walking and someone would come up to me and say, I don't know what it is about you, but something about your aura. So I do believe in that part, but a lot of it is, I mean, I respect your beliefs, but I just do believe in like, I believe in God too. So I feel like that's where my belief in like the crystals and like the spirits come from. I guess in India there, you know, there are different gods, but the one that we believe in is I've experienced myself. So when you're asking about what it is that makes me not believe in the third eye, but believe in crystals and spirits and auras, I think it's just because of my experience. Like I've experienced the things that I've believed. So, you know, you're different, I'm different, but
creation.
it's just
no, and I'm totally awesome. I love hearing about what people believe in because it's just, you know, that is such a huge part of what makes us, and it influences how we act and how we interact and how we respond and the art that we make. So like I do think that's really interesting, and obviously there's no judgment. And for a little history, I just learned about chakras like 2 weeks ago. So this is not like something that I'm like, I'm all in, everybody. But I do like the idea. I love meditation, and I do recognize that we respond to frequencies. And so so we have, Reina was saying chakras are literally energy centers. We have 7 centers in the body. So they're just energy centers that apparently we can photograph. And I don't know if it has anything to do with like, you know, deep religious. I'm sure it has some deep religious roots. That's a stupid thing that for me.
Like honestly, though, we're not about religion. Like I don't. It's ironic. I don't believe in religion.
No,
like
I
it's not about experience. I actually hate religion. I don't like how everything has to be rules. If you don't do this, like you're doomed. Like you're going to hell. Like
forever. I know it's stupid.
I mean, that's not what it's about. You know, like it's about experience. It's about what you put out to the world through like the spirit that you believe in. It's not. I hate religion, so.
No, I get it, and I had a thing.
We have to use those frequencies in our music.
Yes,
exactly.
So we believe in frequencies,
Well, exactly.
Yeah, like the hertz.
What are they called? The
binaural.
Binaural.
Yeah, we believe in that. Like it actually affects the way you feel, like the vibrations and everything. You know, like good vibes. You know, that's like vibrations. You know, like it actually is scientific as well. It's spiritual, but as well as scientific. Like everything connects.
Right. And what's interesting is that
I think the spiritual and science
it's not against each other. It's not like science versus spiritual. It's like all connected.
Yeah, totally. And so like the chakras are actually probably fall in line with that because they do respond to frequency. So like for the third eye chakra, it responds to the note or the frequency we call A, you know, and 440 hertz. So it's interesting, right? So you're talking about how different frequencies touch you in different ways and change the way you feel. This is just another way of sort of, I guess, explaining that or giving or shining light on that idea. So it's like you said, it's all connected and it's all the same in some way. It's just people practice it in different ways, and that's great, right? Like everybody has their thing, everybody likes it. It's just I know what you're talking about in your. In the idea of not liking religion, because religion has spawned so many, horrible atrocities and
it's just necessary,
right? Like even in here in America, like gay marriage was outlawed until like a few years ago because of some weird religious puritanical bullshit that's embedded into our culture here in America. So I get it. I get where it's like as soon as you hear a religious thing, there's red flags go up and you're like, wait, what? Huh? No, I gotta, let's step back here for a second and let's take a look at the bigger picture here. So you talked about meditation. Then what you guys meditate each and every day? That's what you said?
I'd say, yeah.
For most of the part.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. And
I feel like there's like two kinds of meditation. One is like your
One is
all
emptying
day
your mind,
thing.
one is filling your mind.
Yeah, well, I was actually talking about like, there's a meditation where it's like you set a time, maybe like a few minutes or maybe an hour if you have that liberty to have an hour set aside just to like be alone and just kind of meditate. Or it could just be like a 24/7 thing, like what does your spirit connect to? Like what is the purpose for doing the small menial things that you do every day? Like in a way that's kind of meditation, because you're kind of surrendering yourself to whatever it is that drives you, and you're kind of like focused on that.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Yeah, that's awesome. No. So then is there a moment that you take each day where you stop and you're actually like doing meditation, or is it more like each a day you just sort of hey, Pure Chaos, welcome in. Or is it just sort of a practice that you sort of pick up during the day that sort of can take place anytime, anywhere?
Both.
Sort of,
Yeah, I'd say I'd start mine every morning, and then it ideally continues throughout the day without stopping.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, because that like focused meditation. So do you guys have like mantras? Do you have like a method? Is there any sort of way? Are you sitting there
There's no method, at
Yeah.
least for me. I
that
have
you guys
no
practice? Yeah.
Yeah, again, it's for me, it's more of like a spirit thing. Like what spirit do you identify with? What is it that I don't know, like sometimes, okay, once a year when it's my birthday, that's actually the time that's my tradition. I try to like book a hotel for like a couple, or sometimes hopefully this year I'll have 3 nights at a hotel, just me, myself, and I, and just kind of meditating that whole that whole time I'm there. No phones, just kind of cut off from everything and everyone, and just kind of just focus on the God that I believe in, what I want to do with my life, what I feel like I should be doing with my life, and where I'm supposed to be in line with, again, the spirit that I believe in. So that's kind of what I would say is like a focused meditation, but I don't always have that. But that's like the tradition I have every year on my birthday.
Yeah, last year the song "Rest Your Tired Mind" came out of that.
Yes, I wrote it at the hotel.
That's so cool.
But like, I don't have that all the time. I don't always. I'm not always at the hotel.
Yeah.
Although I wish I would, but it's more of like an everyday thing. Like I wake up to the time I go to sleep. It's just being in a place of meditation, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, like, it sounds like presence. It sounds a lot like presence, like bringing yourself to presence, and like you were sort of touching on, is sort of like asking yourself why you're doing the things you're doing. If you're reacting.
Perfect.
If you're reacting, if you're reacting to something in a negative way, being present enough to be able to step back in that moment and be like, hey, what's really bothering me? Why am I reacting this way? Just being present and practicing presence sort of really, well, it helped me to sort of go through that, because when I quit drinking and drugging and doing all that stuff, I really was a mess of a human being. So like meditation was a huge part of sort of reining in emotions, reining in these like really, crazy feelings that I've been ignoring or had been ignoring through years of substance abuse. So it's like, I think it is an important thing, and I find that a lot of musicians like to meditate and like to, it really informs their music, and it really informs just how they respond throughout the day to just everyday mania, because chaos is all around us, and especially now.
It's crazy. The world is crazy.
Well, you got, before we got started, I was talking to JB a little bit, and he said that you guys recently moved from New York City to Nashville, and so I'm just curious on, how did that whole move start, and how you guys liking it?
It's his turn to speak, because this is his. He's like city. New York. New York is his
All right, so
He loves
I'm
New
the
York.
New
He's
York
in
lover
love
here.
with New York.
Yeah,
I love New
yeah,
York
and I miss
too.
it, but like I said, I was glad that we came here to basically be closer to her family who had already settled here a couple of years back,
Okay.
and raising two little toddlers at the time in the city was just hectic. And
Oh, you guys have children?
yeah, two little girls.
Oh, that's beautiful. And now, are they twins or are they just very close together?
No, they're about 4 years apart.
Oh, okay.
One's a dancer, one's a comedian like yourself.
I'm a musician. I play music. I'm not, but thank you. I appreciate you calling me a comedian. But
you got the comedian talent too, bro.
Well, I appreciate that, but I am too much of I'm too much of a coward to do all that. So I'll hide in the shadows playing my keyboard. Anyways, so you have two kids and raising children in the city is
yeah, and we just we were trying to do it for years, and it actually took away the time that we had to spend making music. So ironically, when we moved here, we actually had a lot more time, and the pandemic hit. That gave us even more time to record our whole album. Like I was telling you before, like I didn't want to leave at first, but then I'm glad we did when we did, because the city was just chaos in during COVID.
It
and
still
the hospital
is.
that we
I don't know.
live next to.
Have you been back since you guys left?
I have. And it's not since the pandemic.
No, actually, it was perfect timing because it was right before COVID was bad.
Right before the lockdown.
Did you guys move in like late 2019 or something, or?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was just like, oh.
And
then all of a sudden it's like, boom, we're locked down and everything. And the hospital that we used to go to was supposedly the epicenter of the epicenter.
Oh my God.
Highest number of cases. And it was
shit. That's nuts. So wait, so you guys live next to the hospital, the hot spot?
Yeah, Elmhurst Hospital in Queens. Yep.
Yeah, we lived in Brooklyn and then Queens, but we go to Manhattan a lot. But that hospital, particularly that hospital, is actually the one that we would
we took the kids to.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like for emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Geez, oh, peace.
I mean, imagine.
No, I mean, I can't.
So after all that, I got I was right. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I get it. But you guys you mentioned that you didn't have time to make music. Why didn't you have enough time to make music, especially being in a city like New York that is a epicenter of music and art and culture? What was the problem? What was the barrier?
Honestly, I don't know, maybe it's just because we had kids, but it's even harder just to get somewhere in New York. Like just going to point A to B is like an hour, even if it,
Well, we had a car, but the traffic was bad. If you take the subway, I mean, I don't want to sound like a diva, but I don't like the subway. I don't like trains. I don't like public
transportation. It just takes
I
forever.
am with you. I am with you.
It drains your energy, and
it is terrible.
By the time you get to that place, you're already like, okay, I'm done. Let's go home.
Just drain.
But don't get me wrong. He loves New York. I love San Francisco. I'm a Cali girl by heart. But New York is a really good place to visit. So don't get me wrong. I do love New York as a place to have fun. There's a lot of places.
No. When me and my wife is a Cali girl. She's from San Diego, but she dragged me away from San Diego, and I didn't want to leave. And then I said the same thing as you did, JB. Yeah, there you go. Damn it. I was like, well, you were right. I mean, because I couldn't imagine being in with Ocean Beach, California, in San Diego, which is like dead center. There's no real exit. So if there was a tsunami, everyone in OB would just drown. It would just be awful. Like it's like a crazy little hippie beach town, but like it would have just been awful. And like when I talk to my friends who are struggling along, trying to get get their lives together after the pandemic, and the rents start gonna be due here soon. Like people are. I'm just glad I live in middle of nowhere, Ohio. Like it's totally fine for me. Like I wish I lived in a real city that had real food that wasn't like gross, but like
Oh, I miss New York food. That's one thing I
yeah.
really miss.
We
I
were
love
just we were just
food.
there last week. We were just in New York City, and I mean, I asked you if you had been back since the pandemic, and I mean, geez Louise, that whole that city is running on momentum and fentanyl. It's just it's crazy. Like the trolley, not trolley, the subway cops didn't have masks on, but they were telling people to put masks on. Like there seems to be a breakdown in command there. People are just sort of going along with it. I mean, I know homelessness has always been kind of a problem there, but like it was really bad, and there's a lot of people who are just faded out there. So it was and we were all over the place. We went to the Bronx, we went to Brooklyn, we were staying in Queens, and Astoria, and we were in Manhattan, and it's just everywhere was it's crazy, man. And then you see all the protests, and California is
Well, I'm gonna
crazy
ask
too.
you, have you been to the elevator in New York, like the subway elevator?
I don't go in
Don't
the
get her started.
no,
You
but we
should.
went
You
to.
have not been to New York unless you've been to an elevator in New York,
I
in a
don't.
subway elevator.
I don't want to go
That's
there.
a dare. So if you do got it, like tell us, like, hey, guess what? I've been to New York because I've finally been
I
in that
finally.
I'm telling you, as an experience.
Okay, I will. I'll definitely. I'll have to try it. I mean, every time you go down into a subway tunnel, it's like the collective hot breath of the entire city is like hitting you in the face. So I mean, I can't imagine like getting into an elevator and with that. So yeah, yeah, that's random. Not
We'll never
adventure.
forget.
Never forget. So then you're from San Francisco, Amore?
Yeah, I lived in San Francisco. I visited LA a lot. I
Ah.
love LA. I love San Francisco. And when I was there, I was actually living in Union Square. So I would literally walk to Macy's or the park. And I was just so close. So I loved it. I really love San Francisco.
So was you lived there just on your own volition, or like your family moved there, or you what?
Well, my dad was there. He was working there, and I actually lived in hotels in. Maybe that's why I love San Francisco, but it was just my dad and the rest of my family were still in Manila.
Okay, in the Philippines.
Yeah, Philippines. Yeah. And then they all moved here, but they chose Nashville.
That's interesting.
But my heart is still in San Francisco.
Well, I love California in general, and San Francisco is
the
amazing
weather
too.
is perfect.
I just love it. And plus, we lived in San Diego. We lived 3 blocks from the beach in this artist community. It was amazing. I miss it so much. But again, we've been back to California since the pandemic a couple times, actually. And it's like, shit is just wild out there now. It's just homeless people and encampments
Always been
everywhere.
wild, though. What are you talking about?
I know, but I know New York and California, they've always been wild. But there is a new wild, and I've been to New York before 9/11 and after 9/11, and then right before the pandemic, and then during the pandemic. And I lived in California for like 13 years, and I've been all over there. So I've seen that kind of flourish, that whole scene kind of flourish in its own right. So like it's just things are a lot more crazy, and obviously that's a very obvious statement, but just from someone who's actually been going boots on the ground, like we went to DC right after the BLM marches and stuff last year, and that was wild. So like just things are wild, man. Like these cities are not doing well, and so it's interesting that Nashville. How are you guys liking Nashville? And I mean, you're close to the family, so I'm sure that's nice. And by the way, why did your family choose Nashville? This is an interesting place for a whole group of Filipinos to be like, yes, we're going to Nashville.
I was actually the one who chose Nashville.
Oh, well, Nashville's amazing, but it's not like a bad place. It's an interesting place because,
No, that's because I said it.
Oh.
So they actually, funny, it was between New York and Nashville, and I told them move to Nashville. I don't know. There's like this gut feeling that it would be good in Nashville. Like
did you have any like previous experience, or did you just
no,
you're just like
actually
Nashville?
no.
So
My
wait.
only
Oh, please.
experience in America was in Cali, in LA, in California, LA, San Francisco, Alabama. I've actually been to Alabama,
Ooh.
Florida, just different places, but never Nashville. And I never thought that I would actually be living here. I suggested Nashville just because my mom is all into music and arts. And when I was doing my research, to like suggest where they can move to, and I saw that Nashville was all about arts and music. So I've never been to Nashville, but I had this gut feeling that, okay, this might be a good place for mom and dad and my brother, sister. So, and it turned out to be true.
Turns out everybody's moving here.
Yeah,
there are
like
so many California and New York license plates in Florida too. Everybody seems to be moving here, and it's crazy. It's like she started a trend. There's like a lot of tech jobs here that have been up in the past few years.
Yeah.
So there's even people coming from overseas, and it's like the new New York in a sense, as far as like that diversity of everybody wanting to be here for jobs and
I mean, obviously music industry is there, too. Yeah. So it's like
there's a lot of music studios here, and I've heard that a lot of people from different states would actually fly to Nashville just for recording. And I've also heard about like licensing and everything. Like this is kind of the heart of, I mean, I wouldn't say like entire music, but in terms of like legal stuff with music and licensing and everything, I guess a lot of people do it here, which is amazing. I didn't even know those things when I chose Nashville back then.
That's interesting.
And that's where they learn to speak that good English too.
English good.
There you go.
Sound Jamaican right now.
Well, that works.
Not what I was going for. I was trying to be a Southern belle. Southern belle.
Southern belle. You'll get it. You'll get it.
That's it.
There you go.
We're learning. We're not good yet, but we're learning.
We're learning. We've been hanging out with the locals. They're wonderful, darling. So I think it's just absolutely amazing that your whole family was like, whatever the daughter says, that's what we're doing. I just think that's amazing. Like, and
that power.
But I think that's
that aura.
There it is. It's the aura and that strong belief system. So everyone's doing well there, and then how have you guys been in the music scene there? How have you guys been sort of adapting into what's going on? Have you guys been playing any gigs? I mean, how is it with the pandemic? Is things still kind of locked down there? How is the scene?
Interestingly, we really haven't been able to do that yet since we moved here, and that's when the pandemic started.
Literally when COVID was
so
crazy.
We're still kind of in our own little, New York. Like, so the people that we've worked with, on recording the album and everything virtually, were her people in the Philippines and my people in New York. So
sweet.
We still have yet to really break the Nashville scene and start to network here.
Yeah, I haven't had the chance to ever since the pandemic. But we've been doing a lot of recording, a lot of writing, which is great. It's always good to produce new, music.
Absolutely.
Like that.
It's all good.
But yeah, like it's just been producing.
So
lately.
was the pandemic was the pandemic good for your creativity? Was it a good creative thing, or was it mostly like, oh my God, what's happening? The world's falling apart. Which that's what usually.
I'd say both. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean
both.
But I mean, it sucks that we're not able to gig like we used to. But it's nice to be able to actually sit down and have the time.
Yes.
To just sit down and write and produce and just be creative, and it's always good to have that kind of peace and not so like chaotic that it's all just like a tight schedule or whatever.
Yeah, and even
really
before
nice.
the pandemic, like a lot of her songwriting has always naturally had the theme of overcoming fear and inner healing. And so just the theme of healing and not being sucked into the fear culture was a good thing that came out in her writing during the pandemic. And so we had some old songs that we were still doing from before, and then new ones that came, inspired by everything, all the craziness that was going on, especially last year, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of comfort. I think a lot of musicians, and just being able to talk to musicians and artists over the pandemic, like the pandemic was it was a scary and crazy thing for people, and the fact that musicians and artists had all this time to either sit there and fret or work, I found that a lot of people took solace in just throwing themselves into creating. I'm one of them. Like I would have went nuts if I didn't have something to work on. I mean, all my gigs were. As of last year. Well, last year, at the beginning of the year, most of my money making was through live gigging and writing. So, everything changed for me, obviously, and so I switched focus, and now the podcast is really what I do now, which is weird. But I don't know. Like for me, what I've noticed is that people either were sitting and just sort of drinking and watching Netflix, or they like really went headfirst into their music or art. And so you guys were able to get some good work done during the pandemic. It wasn't all just drinking and freaking out and watching Netflix.
Yeah, it was actually a much needed time to focus. Stop the rat race of life and just be able to be still and focus. And it was actually a good blessing in disguise. Like
I did lose my grandmother to complications caused by COVID. That was a sad time, still is. But we always have to look at the positive. It would be so hard to.
Hello, what's your name?
Aviella.
Avriella?
Aviella.
Oh my God, that is a beautiful name. My goodness. Welcome.
Just came from school.
Hey, how was school? Okay, bye.
She's the dancer.
Yeah, she's
awesome.
Amazing dancer.
I love that. And then the other one's a comedian, you said?
That's right.
She's
5, but she's 4.
Well, you could just
but
tell.
She's funny.
You could just tell. Yeah, no, they come out. I love how they just come out with their little personalities. Like there's just that's just who they are. They just grow up and they get bigger and older and they're just this same little person that. Hey, it's crazy. It's so crazy to see like babies' personalities. And like if you're not a parent, it might be hard to like understand that, but like you see the personality shine through even as an infant, and then it just keeps getting stronger. The light keeps getting brighter and brighter and brighter as they get older. And it's just such a cool thing to witness.
Do you have
I have a son. I have a son.
You have a son?
I have a 7-year-old. 7. Yeah.
7. What's his name?
His name is Bishop. But
Bishop?
Yeah.
Nice.
That is a cool name. I love it.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. He's actually a gamer here on Twitch. He goes by Saucy Chicken Nuggets. So he's a little,
what is he into? Is he a musician as well? Can you tell?
Okay. You want to come on and say hi? I mean, since everybody else.
Oh, I'll be there.
We got babies on screen. We got babies on screen.
Well, I do have a green shirt on.
Hi.
This is okay.
Hi, Bishop.
He is. What are you into, Bishop?
Gaming.
Gaming. What's your favorite?
Minecraft Dungeons.
You like Minecraft Dungeons or Minecraft, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's into dancing.
Ah,
Do you like?
I also like Roblox, but I can't play it anymore.
You can't play Roblox anymore. What happened?
Well,
Something happened.
I'm done with it.
I actually can't play Roblox right now because my mom can't remember the password to get me in.
Uh-oh.
I signed out and now I just can't get in because my mom forgot the password.
Which stinks because man, there was a lot of work. He did a lot of work and so many Robux spent.
Yes, so many, like thousands.
Not thousands.
Wow.
Thousands.
Well, you don't really need Roblox.
No, you don't. But he already bought all these like skins and all these different things, and he already spent all his Robux, and now he can't remember how to get back to his stuff.
Aw, too
Yeah.
bad.
So many Robux spent. I literally made a whole entire 2021 skin.
Yeah.
A whole entire 2021
Yeah.
skin.
Well, there it is. Kids Cast. That's right. It's Kid Cast. All right, Saucy, go ahead.
That's
Take
it.
your exit, sir. I gotta get back to work here. She could stay, by the way. He has to go though, because he'll dominate. He'll just sit here and be like, "You can find me at twitch.tv as Salty Chicken Nugget." He'll just do a whole ad. Like this dude, he's such a little ham. As soon as he gets the moment, he's just like, "Come and follow me." What does he say? He says, "Donations are appreciated, but not
Aw.
necessary."
That's smart. You got a smart kid.
He is, and he likes to talk about business adventures. Like he had a whole conversation about
Wow.
with his uncle about starting a new restaurant and stuff. Like he is all about paper. Like he is just like, "Get me that money. I gotta get paid because all I want to do is game and eat pancakes and stuff." So like, you know, it's
Cute.
he gets it. He gets it. He does. He gets it. So that I think that's a important thing to teach kids.
Got a young entrepreneur there.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool that you know, like, how did having kids sort of shift your music and your music career in general?
We just involved them into it.
Yeah.
Basically, you know.
In which ways?
They're on the album actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
What?
And music videos, right?
That's
Like
awesome.
the heart. There's a song that Gabriella's Heartbeat was in it.
Oh yeah, when
It
she
was,
was
the
pregnant
intro.
with our youngest.
Oh,
The Heartbeat was the intro of that song.
and that's so sweet.
It was literally the heartbeat, like the recording of the
Yeah,
heartbeat
from the ultrasound, yeah.
ultrasound in my room. And then there's another song where Aviella, the one that you just saw, was singing that song before we even recorded it. It was just like, you know, I would sing it and then she would hear it. And she just started singing that song over and over. And I was like, wow, this is so cute. And then we recorded that. And she was what, like
2 years old.
2 years
Yeah.
old. And we that recording, that raw recording of her singing that song, age 2, is also in that
Yeah, at the end of the track.
at the end of the track. So.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that.
And she also danced in a music video for Rest Your Tired Mind, right?
Yeah, it makes
Yep.
it more personal.
Yeah, totally. No, we do the same thing. We just, because my wife is a musician as well, and I mean, it's just he just really has no choice. Not that not that if he rejected art that we would be like, no, you're artist forever. No, you know, like if he wants to be an
I want to
engineer-
be a lawyer.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be a lawyer, Pa. Please, I want to be successful. I don't want to be scraping for money well into my 40s. No, he doesn't really have a choice just by proxy. You know what I mean? Like he's just naturally creative, and he can
Yeah, they
sing
just
his little ass
absorb
off.
it.
Yeah,
They want to copy and they learn naturally.
but he's
That's
rejected.
why we kind of brought them into it,
Mhm.
because you know it's the temptation is to say, "Oh, leave us alone. We're busy. We're doing our
with
thing."
Roblox, yeah.
But
Oh,
it's-
you mean as musician
Right,
parents?
right.
Yeah, I got you.
Right.
Yeah,
But to, like most people wish they had that kind of inspiration from their parents, that
Yeah.
kind of support, like for me going to art school, the biggest thing was that my mom actually supported me going. She wanted it because her parents didn't allow her to go to art school, and she wanted to.
Nice.
So like to bring up this generation now, you know, it's something that they're naturally inspired by it's huge.
Yeah, totally. But it's it, it's a shame that kids' spirits and like young artists, their motivation to pursue their creativity can get snuffed out so quickly by, you know, adults or teachers or parents, and that's a shame. It's a damn shame because, you know, your mom didn't get to go to art school. I mean, your mom could have been the next, you know, Virginia vagina drawer lady, you know, whatever her name is. Is it Virginia Woolf? It's not Virginia Woolf, is it? Who's the
She's
lady?
actually an author, right? Like
Yeah, Virginia Woolf is an author. Huh? Who's the lady who draws the vaginas? Virginia, vagina drawer lady. Artist.
like it's gonna come up when you decide.
Oh yeah, it's gonna just be Pornhub. It's a bunch of Pornhub links.
I told you you're a comedian. Why are you a musician? You should be a comedian.
Or embrace both. You know?
I'm a better musician than comedian. I can promise you that.
Mess me up.
Desert. Let me see if this comes up. I don't know why I'm Georgia O'Keeffe. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, Google. Georgia O'Keeffe. Your mom could have been the next Georgia O'Keeffe, and yet her parents snuffed that idea out. So your mom encouraged you to go to art school.
Yeah.
And you're a painter.
Yeah, whereas a lot of parents, you know, didn't quite, you know, enjoy the idea of her going into music. And
see, now I get because my mom's from Mexico, and she has that sort of I don't know, maybe this is the idea, but maybe you can relate to this, but there's this sort of immigrant mentality where it's like, I'm coming to America to provide like a nice life for my children, and now you want to throw it all away by being a fucking artist. Like, no, go be a doctor. Now, is that kind of, does that hit on it? Or no?
That's not happened to me, but I'm Asian, so like the standards are like super
really high. Yeah,
it has to be perfect. And I was actually an honor student, like, you know, A student all throughout, until I had chemistry and biology. But everyone in Manila, in the Philippines, except my mom, actually, my mom was actually the one supportive parent, the one family that actually supported and invested in my music and art. And, you know, I went to painting classes, voice lessons, everything, like instruments, because of my mom. So I'm very appreciative of that. But most of my family back in the Philippines, they thought I was going to be the next doctor or politician or lawyer. And I had to fight for my love for the arts and music. And I, you know, went through a stage where I got all depressed thinking that I'm such a big disappointment. A lot of people looked up to me thinking that I was going to be like the next female Obama or something. I don't know, but I felt like such a big disappointment. Like I have a family of doctors and, you know, into politics and lawyers and, you know, the successful, you know, like the typical successful career. And then I'm like the musician, the artist, like I was in the Miss Teen Philippines show back then, and that was like, look, like that wasn't an accomplishment to them. To them it was like, why you're wasting your brains for that? Like, what are you doing modeling? Like, what are you doing with your life? And I'm just like, I don't know, I like it makes me happy, it makes me feel alive, it the creativity, it's just, it makes me feel that I'm a person and not just, you know, like I could be a doctor or a lawyer, but I wouldn't.
Not everybody can be a doctor or lawyer.
I wouldn't. First of all, I cannot even stand the sight of blood. I will pass out, and I have passed out.
Me too.
So I can't even. I'm sorry, family. I cannot be a nurse. I cannot be a doctor, but I will make you a good song.
There you go.
But I had, you know, that's, I don't know if it's an Asian thing, but I feel like I'm very grateful that now I feel like maybe they realize that nothing is gonna change my love for the arts and music, and I feel grateful that I feel like they accept me now for whatever I want to do with my life. And I'm really thankful that they love me for me, regardless of my career.
Regardless of your life choices.
Yes.
So then was there a good amount of friction between you and your family for
There
a while?
was.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's friction, but I definitely felt like a big disappointment.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
I
that is
remember
friction. That's definitely friction. I mean,
pressure, you know, the
yeah,
pressure
yeah.
was on. Like it was, I felt like everyone wanted me to, like I was the one they were eyeing to be the most successful in the family in that. I mean, success, what is success? I mean, you know, definition of success is subjective. That's in the song.
For sure.
But like, I don't think career is what defines success. I mean, we're all different, but I don't believe in that. And I'm glad that they have become doctors and nurses and lawyers and all that stuff. But we just gotta own what we love, right?
Yeah, yeah, and you know, there's this idea, you know, like I know at least for my mom's generation growing up in Mexico, like there's this idea that you know, success is I don't know, it's part of the family name, you know what I mean, and sort of like so like sort of going into the field like if you go into anything other than like you know go into a career that's going to better you in the family name then you're actually going against you know you're ruining the family name you know you're ruining tradition you're ruining this idea of family and that's a huge pressure. That's a huge pressure to put on someone. I'm curious. Did you come to the States? Did you were you born here or did you come here as you know? Were you born in the Philippines and you came over here later?
I was born in the Philippines, but I was, I think, a year or two old when I was first here. 'Cause my brother, who's 2 years younger than me, was born here.
Oh, okay.
So I would travel. I mean, I studied in Manila, but I would travel back and forth, you know, Manila and then US, Manila,
Yeah.
US, just different states. Most of the time it would be California.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually was kind of bullied in with like my accent. Like I can speak Filipino, but I didn't have the accent, like the hard Filipino strong accent
Yes.
back then. So they would always say that I'm like not like that I'm Americanizing.
Yes.
And I didn't know what to do with it. When I spoke Filipino,
Yeah.
it would be like, oh, like that's not the accent you should have. Like, why are you Americanizing
Right.
Filipino language? If I speak English, they're like, oh, so you think you're better than us just
Yeah.
because you're speaking English? So I'm like, what am I supposed to say?
Right.
What language am I supposed to use? So it was tough, but now, you know, I can just be myself. No one's like criticizing my Filipino.
Yeah.
No one's criticizing that I'm speaking English or Filipino, and I can just have the best of both worlds. So that's all good.
It's so interesting. It's so interesting on how tribal we can all be, you know, and in every culture too, in every culture, because it's like, I mean, for me, I'm half Mexican, so like I'm not Mexican enough to hang out with Mexicans, but I'm not white enough. Well, I'm white enough to hang out with white people. That's silly. That was a dumb thing about to say, but you know, like, but in Ohio, it's weird because you know I'm north and you know everybody thinks the South is all racist or whatever, but in the North, I mean, especially here in Ohio in the Midwest, there's plenty of racism to go around. But it's always like one of those things where it's like I'm white until they find out, you know, and then they're like, oh, now you're different, and now is so like growing up, it was always like I'm the white kid until my mom drops me off at school, and then I'm the Mexican. So it's like that's how it worked for me. But you see that weird dichotomy happen, you know, a lot, and you know, you're not Filipino enough for you know the Philippines, and but if you try to speak English, you're too good. And then if you come to America, you know, they expect you to speak English perfectly. And if you deviate from that, then you're just, you know, you're stealing our resources or something. I don't know. I don't know what the logic is behind some of these people's ideas or ideologies, but still, I can see how that's kind of you kind of felt like you didn't really have a place to stand. You know, I don't know if that's how you felt, but like I can sort of see that just from my own experiences. It's like you kind of don't have a place to stand. My wife's half black, half Italian. And she sort of saw that, faced this whole thing where it's like, I'm not black enough for the blacks. I'm definitely not white enough for the whites, you know, calling her whitewashed and all this kind of different stuff. It's just, everybody's tribal, you know, everybody has their tribe, even in the Philippines, you know, here in America, everywhere.
Yeah, I'm so Filipino though. Like, I'm really Filipino. Like, both my parents are Filipino.
Right.
I love street food. I love like Filipino street food. I will eat anything Filipino.
Oh my God, I love Filipino.
I'm just so Filipino, but when I'm there, I speak English not good. Like they'll criticize me for speaking English. Yeah. I speak Filipino, and it's just like they call it maarte. Like
you don't have the right accent, and you don't.
Like maarte is like it's a the literal translation is artistic or artist, but when a Filipino says you're maarte, it's in a bad way. It's like you are
like high and mighty,
being like yeah, like, you know, like oh my gosh, like, but I'm not like that.
Right. Right.
So I feel like I have been misunderstood a lot, but you know what? This is me.
Exactly. Well,
she writes music. We do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but it's interesting though, like if you didn't have these like stressors in your life, you know, like this idea of not having this sort of not feeling like you have a place to stand, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. That's just what I'm taking from what you're saying. It's sort of this, you know, you're in this weird spot where you're American, Filipino, but you're all Filipino, but you know, you're trying to fit in, but they're not accepting you all the way. You know, like just having that odd place, you know, trying to find that place to stand. It's damn it. I forgot what I was going to say. It's just like, I get on these little, I'll start like talking about other things, and then it's gone. It's gone. And that's just how it works. Oh, well. But yeah, it's strange, man. It's a strange place to be. And to think that if you didn't have these roadblocks and have these sort of, you know, stressors in your life, that you wouldn't create the music that you were creating today, because it was from those places that you were drawing from, those moments of hurt, those moments of, you know, of not feeling like you belong, or you know, finding peace, finding happiness, finding inner worth, you know, like those things. Those are the things that you use as fodder to sort of fight those feelings, and I love it. That's what I love about art, is just that you can draw from this. Who is that? Who's that? What's that? Summer Houston? Is that her name? What's her name, Reina? That singer. We were just listening to her album. Summer something. Oh my God, what's her name? She just released an album. She made a whole album. Summer Walker. She just made a whole fucking diss album on her ex-boyfriend, who was also her producer, and got her to her place where she is now. And this whole album she just released is all just her shitting on homeboy.
Making money off it.
Making money off this motherfucker. And like Cardi B's in it. Like, she's like, fuck these hoes. Like, make money off these bitches. Like, that's what she's saying on the album. I'm just like, I love you, Cardi B. But that's what's so beautiful about art, you know, and that's what's so beautiful about being able to sort of, you know, filter those feelings and stuff, and sort of create something beautiful out of, you know, something that was hard or awful or beautiful or whatever.
Yeah. Like, actually, if I can just say, my relationship with my family now, at least with my father, he used to not like the idea of me being an artist. He was against it, but now I feel more loved knowing that regardless of how he felt about not wanting me to be an artist and just wanting me to be like the typical, doctor, lawyer, whatever, he still supported that by like giving me education. Like I went to school for music production and digital arts. Yeah. And he paid for that. And that's actually a really big deal to me.
Hell yeah.
And I feel like I'm just saying this because like you're saying, if the bad things didn't happen, then you won't like create something good. And I feel like I appreciate it more. Like I feel his love more knowing that this is not what he wants, but he supported me anyway.
Yeah.
In the end. So
absolutely. Because he loves
that.
you. Well, and just because he loves you and he wants you to be happy and like he put his own ideas and ideologies aside and was like, okay, and it's a damn shame when parents like put those barriers between them and their children because they don't like, you're going to be an artist. Well, I can't talk to you anymore. Like, what kind of crazy shit is that? Like, what kind of horrible thing is that to abandon your children because you don't like what they're pursuing? They're pursuing their passions. Now, I can understand if they're fucking pursuing drug addiction. I get that. Like, I get that that's something that you're not, really into. But like, if it's something, because you can tell when your kids are in the shit. You can tell, like, and you can tell when these things make them happy. And like, if you can't see the things and the pursuits that make your children happy, well, what kind of a parent are you really? And the fact that he could see that and put aside his own feelings it's huge.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful that you're able to acknowledge that and you're able to be like, hey, like, it wasn't a great situation at one time, but we worked through it. And in fact, he flipped the bill for it. So fuck, dude, that's beautiful. That's great. I love that. And I could never be that. I mean, could you ever imagine being like, telling your kids is like, what if they didn't want to go into arts and they're like, I want to be an engineer, It's like, no, we can't do this. I can't handle this. You got to go, like. I could never see me doing that. I could never, like, that's not even in me regardless of what he wants to do, unless he wants to be like a gigolo or something. It's just like, we got to talk about this, but still it's like, if this is what you really want, son, I guess there's safe ways to go about this, I suppose. But anyways, it's a beautiful thing. I don't know, like, what do you guys hope for your kids in the long run, and I can assume all of it, but I'm just curious. What do you guys want for them out of their careers? Like, do you want them to go into the arts? Is it something that you are excited about?
This is a good note to end on because we do have to wrap it up.
Oh, okay.
I want them to do what they're passionate about, whether it's arts or whether it's
dance.
Yeah, or being a scientist or whatever drives them. I want them to go for it and just put their all into it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Comedy.
Aviola is taking up dance lessons.
Yep.
We try our best. The same way my mom supported my passion for the arts and music. I had a lot of classes, and that's what we're trying to do with our kids now. I mean, Gabriela's too young. I don't know if there are classes for her age yet, but whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
We will be.
That's our desire for them.
Yeah. Whatever makes them happy.
Well, I know you guys got to go, and I'm sorry we didn't even get to talk about Dancing in the Rain, which is the new single out right now from you both. And you guys can find that right here in the chat. Whoa. My God. Oh, man.
Don't worry.
But yeah, so you can find Dancing in the Rain right there, and that's a link to all their stuff. You can, if you're listening on the audio side, you can, the links are in the show notes. Can you guys just give us a little thing? I know it's a Through the Roots cover, which I love Through the Roots. I got to play with those guys, or at least open up for those guys a couple times over my
They're
time
awesome.
in San Diego. They're actually based in Ocean Beach as well. What made you guys want to do a Through the Roots song, and what drew you to it?
I love the music, the instrumental, and she loved the lyrics, and it just felt like a perfect match to, like, we we got to do our version of this.
Do you guys have
Pay
any
homage.
connection to them? And do you guys know them at all? Have you ever met them at all? Or
No, I mean they reached out after hearing the song and gave
didn't-
props, which are much
Aw.
appreciated.
that's
That
awesome.
was
But before
nice.
that, no, it was just
Just fans.
we like their music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, I mean it's a great cover. Yeah, you guys did a great job. So then, so you went to school for mixing and mastering. So then, do you do your own mixing and mastering then?
I know
Mm-hmm.
it. I just I feel like my heart is into the singing and the songwriting more than it is for production.
Yeah.
So no, I don't.
So who's doing production for you guys then? Are you guys recording it yourself, or do you guys have a?
Yeah, it's us recording and then collaborating with different producers, usually for different songs
Mhm.
or for the album. It was a combination of people in the Philippines and New York.
Ah, yes. Right on.
So
Well,
it's different track by track.
I understand. Well, I won't keep you guys. You guys got things to do. You have children to raise and a life to live. So we will cut it off here. Thank you guys so much for coming on the show, and have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'll be in touch with more information on the audio release.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for
worries.
having us.
Of course. Thank you for being here. Peace. All right. Well, that was fun. I didn't expect. We were supposed to go until 5 my time, but I think they have children to attend to. So totally cool. We appreciate them anyways. It was very nice chatting with them. So let's do some pictures. I got some. First, I want to show you guys. If you guys missed it on Sunday or Saturday, me and Saucy were streaming on his channel, which is Saucy Chicken Nugget with one N, but Saucy's ass. Oh, what happened? Oh, okay. I see. Let me see. This shit is so funny.